think that's one of the ultimate positionings is to have the expertise, but also to have the client know that I will never steer you wrong, and you're a customer for life.
Welcome to The Perfect Fit Presents. Today, I'm excited to have a chat with Mr. Joe Nicassio. Joe has been a Jay Abraham protege. He transcribed years of Jay Abraham's audio works into what has become the Jay Abraham Marketing Encyclopedia. What Joe doesn't know about marketing and sales, he suspects for sure. Let's hear what he has to say. I would like to welcome the entrepreneur maker officially here right now, Joe Nicassio. I would like to ask Joe, what was the proudest moment of your sales career? Sales
Well,
profession.
um, I didn't really intentionally go through sales, but I ended up in sales, and I ended up not being very good at it. And I studied like 19 different systems over, the last, 35, 40, 45 years. I would say it's something that was kind of a proud moment. There's a couple proud moments. I went through a Tom Hopkins training. It was a 3-day boot camp, and I remember I sold a software product, and I used to think I had a 6-month sales cycle. And one of the things that happens is when I got out of this sales boot camp, I had a lead. I followed up on that lead, and I closed an $8,500 sale just by using what I learned in the sales boot camp. And it kind of shattered my limiting beliefs that that there has to be a long sales cycle. Another time, a friend of mine got us an appointment. It was kind of last minute, and we got called into PIMCO, Pacific Investment Management Company, in Irvine, California. And he says, "Hey, we got an opportunity to sell our software." And I was wearing a Grateful Dead, tie-dye T-shirt and beach shorts. And we went into this PIMCO, which was, it's a investment company, conservative, suit and tie. Steve was in a suit and tie. Here I am in a Grateful Dead T-shirt, and we came into this meeting, and I ended up closing a $20,000 sale. So those were two, highlights. I think there's a lot of them. I mean, closing sales is fun. I'm really in this place where relationship is more important than revenue, and I think closing a sale is really coming from this place that closing a sale is really helping you make a good decision for you, whether it's to buy or to not buy. It's putting the client's best interest in heart, and being that person that genuinely cares about having your client's best interest at heart is much more important than any kind of sales or marketing techniques. It's like when you come, we're not business to business or business to consumer. We're like human to human and soul to soul. And when you figure out that you're actually into soul to soul business, it really changes the dynamic in a much more favorable way.
Those are all awesome. And I'm 100% on side. As the perfect fit is my vision for getting soul to soul, finding the few people out of the 100 that would only do business with me forever when I find them, and connecting with them, and then nurturing that relationship along through as many transaction opportunities, whether it's originally with them or somebody that they know that will transact with me. So that's amazing. I'd like to ask you also to expand a little bit your sales history and your sales coaching history from student and professor sides is fairly extensive. How did you find sales as a vocation?
Yeah, I came in completely through the back door. My background is I was an electronics nerd. I took all the electronics classes. I was an electronics hobbyist before, high school. I built my own. I was this electronics nerd, and I remember I went out. So I was wiring. I got an estimate for wiring a garment warehouse for the purpose of putting an alarm system in. And the guy pulled me aside and he said, "Joe, it's like you're brilliant, but you suck at communicating, basically." And he told me about this organization called Toastmasters. I started going to Toastmasters, but I also started picking up books like How to Master the Art of Selling by Tom Hopkins. I love that book. Every word was so gripping to me. It's like so articulate. Anyway, the more I went down the path, I realized that there are many ways of approaching the psychology of selling, Brian Tracy kind of stuff. And, I went through 52 weeks of Sandler sales training, and I learned neuro linguistic programming. And I started realizing that there's a strategic selling and conceptual selling. And there was a guy, Ari Galper out of South America, or Australia. And he teaches something called Unlock the Game. And it's really about this idea that if you are perceived as a salesperson, people will lie to you. It's like culturally acceptable for people to lie to you if they think that you're a salesperson, and that kind of sucks. I also ended up spending a lot of time with Jay Abraham. I made $1 million and I lost everything, and I ended up in the presence of Jay Abraham and went to a paid event and got my mind blown. And after that, they asked me to, would you like to come to more events? I said, I'd love to. I'm still trying to pay for the first event. It's like 35 years ago. And they said, can you barter? I'm like, what could I do? And they said, we need transcription. And so I did. They sent me boxes and boxes of audio cassettes sorted by 30 different topics. And my transcriptions ended up going in the J. Abraham Marketing encyclopedia. And one of the things that Jay teaches is this idea of the strategy of preeminence. So even though I know a lot about marketing, and even though I know a lot about sales, I don't want to be known for those things. I want to be known as the trusted advisor. Joe cares about you. Joe is a genuine expert. Joe will never steer you wrong. And I think that's one of the ultimate positionings, is to have the expertise, but also to have the client know that I will never steer you wrong, and you're a customer for life, and you're not a customer, you're a client. Customer is somebody who spends money with you, but a client is somebody who's under your care and protection. And I think it's super important to come from that frame that you're under my care and protection. Also, studied some stuff with Taki Moore over at Black Belt. He's amazing. I'm looking forward to doing more work with him. But one of the things he teaches is that sales is like being on American Idol, and our job is not to be the contestant impressing the judges, but we are Simon Cowell. I am Simon Cowell, and I'm here to assess who's worthy of the prize. Bob Proctor teaches. A lot of people they have they're trying. Am I worthy of the goal? And that's the wrong question. The real question is the goal worthy of me? Is the client worthy of me? And so there's a real important thing about recognizing that it's our job to have the prize frame. I've also studied with Todd Brown the E5 method. So I think by having many mentors, learning many different systems, there's others that I haven't even mentioned, and honestly, some of them are not as good as others. Um, and one selling, if you're selling one kind of product or service, it might work very well. One of the things I've learned is most people that are in selling, they usually learn from their industry. So the car guy learns selling from a car guy, and the home selling, the realtor learns from the realtors. And one of the things I learned from Jay Abraham is this idea of cross pollination. So, car dealers would learn a tremendous amount by studying how jewelers sell jewelry, or or how contractors sell construction of building a home. Uh, anyway, there's a lot there. Back to you.
True story, true story. So the one of the things that really smacked me in the face was, there's one of the realtor uh, not very kind things that they have to say about their customers sometimes is that there's a notion that buyers are liars, and you just hit the nail on the
Yeah.
head for me as to why that is. If they're lying to you, you might be perceived as a salesperson because it's totally acceptable to just not disclose, right? And so how do we get to become that? How do we get to become that trusted advisor in Joe's
Well,
experience?
first thing you do is you drop this idea that buyers are liars. That's a very unhealthy frame. I am in real estate. We help you. If you want to buy a home or sell a home, There's too much I focus and me focus, and we do this and we do that, and there's this we problem. But it's not about we, it's about you. What's your real estate situation? Are you a renter and you're tired of renting? You're tired of, throwing your money away every month on rent and not having any equity or building any wealth? Well, if you want to change that, for probably close to the same amount of money you're spending each month, you could probably improve your financial situation, and probably you could probably have the same payments by being in your own home. So why
Exactly
wouldn't
right.
you want to do that? So shifting from a I we frame to a you frame, it's not about what I do, it's about what you get. And you put it very explicitly. How much does it cost? Absolutely nothing if it's not right for you. It's about taking an understanding of a frame that I really am here to serve you. And if I think something is not in your best interest, I will tell you. It's not just about buying and selling real estate. It's about a lifestyle transformation. This is a big investment, and it's important to you. Yeah, I make a commission, I make a small commission, but that's small relative to the value of living in a home and making sure that you're in a neighborhood that supports your life and your lifestyle and your family. And so I take this, I'm serious as a heart attack, that I want to I want to help you make that decision, and I want to make sure that you feel really good and yummy about it afterwards.
So definitely the frame that we put ourselves or put others in is key. I love the rental versus purchase analogy. I mean, it's people, I believe, are seeking certainty most times, and that's like the number one. That's the number one key reason that you want to buy a house instead of renting one, is you're certain that the landlord is not going to raise the rent without your permission.
Also, another frame that I found is very powerful is, don't be a realtor, be like a doctor. It's malpractice to give a prescription without a proper diagnosis first. So, like, what are you looking for? I want to make sure that if I'm going to prescribe a home for you, I want to make sure that I do a good diagnosis, to make sure that I find exactly. Let me ask you a lot of questions to find out what you're looking for. And once I've got a good diagnosis and a good understanding of your situation, then and only then will I start, zeroing in on prescribing and making sure that I don't waste your time, and I put you in the kind of home that's exactly what you're looking for inside the budget of what you're looking for. And be having more of a doctor frame versus a real estate salesperson frame. A lot of people say the client pushes back. Buyers are liars. The client pushes back. The only reason that they're pushing back is because somebody was pushing in the first place. So we need to take ownership. The best salespeople are not pushy; they're pulley. The best salespeople create emotions in the client. I don't need to push the client to buy. If I'm doing my job right, then I'm creating emotions in the buyer where they're like trying to pull me over the goal line. They're like, "What do I need to do to work with you, Joe? What do I need to work with you, Ed?" Um, uh, and so, there's some mythology, I think, in a way, selling is a transfer of enthusiasm from the salesperson to the client, but not really. I've learned that my emotions are irrelevant. Okay. What's really relevant is creating an emotional experience. There are emotions that the buyer needs to want to buy. And so if I can talk to people and ask questions that help engage their imagination, where they're actually going on an emotional journey and feeling the right emotions, they're going to buy. And they're especially going to be more likely to buy if you're actually matching them in the right the right property, the right home. There's three things that are really critical for any kind of sales or marketing to work. Number one is audience. You know, that's 40% is audience. 40% is the actual offer, and 20% is like the copywriting or the language. I think too many people in sales are worried about the copywriting and the language. What are the magic words I need to say to get people to buy? But it's not about what you say, it's what do you give? What are you giving in the offer that resonates with them and makes sense? Having the offer right kind of almost eliminates the need for using some kind of magic words or phrases. So instead of asking, if you're in sales, instead of asking, what are the words I need to say to get them to buy, you need to ask, what do I need to, well, how can I give so much value in the offer that they want to, that it's so darn good, the value that I'm receiving, I want it at any price, and so I will pay the price because you're giving so much value. I'll give good money.
I can appreciate that a lot. We in our previous conversation, I've I think I shared that I have observed how small of number or participation in the realtor slash real estate agent world actually realizes they are in the marketing business. Just because you got a listing for a house and you put the sign in the yard that you squat and wait for somebody to call on, right? That's not marketing.
Yeah. Yeah, the harder my marketing works, the easier my selling goes. And I think when you get into an industry like the car industry or the home industry, you learn sales tactics. But, you know, uh, marketing and sales kind of go together. And here's what I want from my marketing: I want it to make people aware. I want it to generate leads. I want people to raise their hand and show some interest. That doesn't mean they're going to buy, but I want people to raise their hand. I also want my marketing to familiarize people with me, like to warm them up. I also want my marketing to raise the buying temperature to 8, 9, and 10. If a 10 is somebody ready to pull out their checkbook or their credit card or whatever. I want my marketing to fill my calendar with 8s, 9s, and 10s. Okay, people that are like 2 or 3 on the buying temperature, I want to send them back to my marketing so that the marketing is doing its job to raise the buying temperature. And then my marketing also needs to have what's called a marketing thesis. And the marketing thesis is, this is Todd Brown stuff. Everything in the marketing is to support the marketing thesis or the marketing belief that Joe has the answer to your problem. Joe has the solution to your problem. He's got a mechanism. He's got a unique mechanism. Joe has a system. It's unique. It's different. It's superior than the way other realtors work or the way. And once you buy into this system as a superior way to do things, now, if I have your permission, I'd like to show you my offer. Now I want to move into sales mode. So before I even try to go into sales, I want people to have a buying belief that Joe can solve my problem. Now I'm willing to hear his sales offer. Okay, and we migrate
Money
into
does
that.
change hands when problems are solved.
There's another piece to this though, and that is I think too many people go into sales mode too early. And what we want to do is get people into, okay, I'm ready to work with you. Now we shift into sales mode. Everything else should be marketing.
Yes, sir. So you've seen a lot of different selling systems.
Yeah.
What is Joe Nicassio's favorite lead attraction connection pathway? What's your favorite lead gen style?
I like different things for different reasons. I like joint venture endorsements. You know, you got somebody that's got a big crowd of people and says, today we're bringing in Joe as a speaker. You know, Joe is not low priced. I paid him a lot of money. He's the highest price base. But listen to Joe, listen to every word. So that endorsement from somebody else to their crowd is very powerful. That's one. I guess I have several favorites. It's about choosing the right lead generation for the right situation. I run paid ads too. What do I like about paid ads? I spend $25 a day and I generate, 8 or 10 or 12 leads a day. It's nice knowing that fresh people are coming into my ecosystem every day automatically without effort. I like that. Okay. Um, Other lead generation systems. I mean, I use some social media stuff, hand raising posts. You want to think in social media, you want to think of terms of eyes, hands, hearts, and faces. So we want to get people's eyes on our social media content. And we want to engage people to raise their hand and say, I like what you're saying, or I'm interested in what you're saying, I'm interested in what you're talking about. And then from there in social media, we want to get them into a chat conversation. And in the chat conversation, we're kind of qualifying people, asking questions, getting to know them as a human being first, but we're also discovering the desires of their heart. And then from there, we want to get face to face, either on a Zoom call or a physical meeting, so we can have the conversation to, if they're qualified and they have desires and we can help them, then it makes sense to, so part of lead generation isn't just getting people to raise their hand, it's the lead nurturing that happens after. And I would say there's all kinds of ways to generate leads, but let me ask you this: what are you doing to nurture those leads? What's your nurture process after you generate a lead? That's where most people drop the ball. There's a lot of ways to generate leads. You can do it through content, you can do it through endorsement. Um, uh, you can do it face to face. Networking can be fun. I like speaking from a stage, because that makes me kind of the authority. And oh, if you want, let me buy you an hour of my time, or I've got a free report for you, or I have free information that'll help support you. Then drop your business card or scan a barcode. So there's a lot of ways to generate leads.
If I might ask, Joe,
Yeah.
in 2023, the folks that are counting on the for our business, the brokerage, to carry the day for marketing and bring them business, I believe that those folks are being left behind. And I think the COVID
Why you
pandemic
believe
time,
that?
I think the COVID pandemic time made that even a bigger challenge, as people are not out and about looking at bus stop benches and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on where personal branding and marketing is and or should be going?
Of course, a lot of this depends on what business you're in. You're obviously in the real estate space, and you've also got your software space. Um, there's
So I'm
there's
I'm
stuff you can
selling
do online.
insurance. I could be selling insurance. I could be sell. I am focused on solopreneur type industries. Can
Tom
you?
Hopkins used to say, you can throw away a fax, and you can delete an email, you can hang up on a phone call, but what's the hardest thing to get rid of? It's a body. And so, the absolute best is face to face, belly to belly, eyeball to eyeball, shaking hands. You create more connection in a physical connection than you're going to get through any online or offline media. That being said, the online media and that kind of stuff, it helps extend our reach. There's a problem with everything. The problem with face to face is, it's me dependent. If I show up, I can generate leads. If I don't show up, if I'm sick in bed for a month, I'm out of business. Okay. So, I love referrals. A good warm referral is great. The quality of those is usually very high. Here's the problem though: they're inconsistent. You don't. It's not like you get 20 leads a week. From referrals. That's you got to be playing your referral game at a pretty high level to be getting that kind of stuff.
Developing a large list of folks that are potential for future referrals happens over the career, and I've witnessed in our industry, in real estate industry, that when people stop adding new faces to their sphere of awareness, of opportunity, that there will be, as Brand Corn says, that on average every person in your sphere will make a real estate transaction happen every 10 years. So if you've got 100 people, obviously every 10 years is going to come along a lot less frequently than if you got 10,000 people.
Yeah, it's not like a car purchase where you might buy more frequently. I'm a big fan of, gosh, if I was in real estate, I'd be doing direct mail. I would make a list of my top 100 or 500 leads, and I send them a postcard every month. And invite them to talk to me, and I, there's this idea of a dream 100. What's a dream 100? It's like, if you could only do business with 100 people, who would they be? Like the mayor of the town, the head of the chamber of commerce. Who are the centers of influence that can impact not just them as a client, but they have crowds that they're connected to. The head of the Kiwanis Club, or the the Rotary Club. These are influential people, and so you want to think in terms of nests and centers of influence. Where can I be known in a nest of people versus individually? You want to start looking at how can I leverage my time? How can I leverage my relationships? How can I leverage systems? How can I leverage my business model? Also, look, this is really an underappreciated strategy, but we talk about avatar and who's your ideal client and this kind of stuff, but there's a deeper level of that. Like, what does a 5-star client look like, or what's a top tier client look like? My top tier clients, pay me well. They're responsive to me. They send me thank you notes. They join, they sign up for my coaching calls. They're very coachable. They take action. They send me gifts. They pay me more than I ask. They send me 5-star referrals. They give me rock star testimonials.
Blue Marlins, not blue gills.
Right. Well, the thing is how can you attract the top dreamy clients if you don't really like brainstorm what does that look like and also put it out? I work with people that are 100% committed to creating a business that works. Before I take somebody on the coaching or mentoring client, I ask on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to make this business truly work? And if they say I'm a 9, it's like, we got a problem. I'm 10 out of 10 committed to your success, and you're 9 out of 10. Why am I more committed to you than you are committed to yourself? I can't take you on as a client. How do we fix this? I don't work with people that are dipping their toes in the water. I work with people who are making waves. If you want to attract amazing clients, then you got to define them and put that into your messaging. And then now you have a chance so that if you put it out into the universe, then it can come back to you. Those people will find you.
That's all awesome stuff, Joe. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today. Um, I want to ask one last question, and let you take us out on it. The entrepreneur maker. Give us a thumbnail on what the entrepreneur maker. How's that reputation? We know what's behind the reputation. Um, I wanted to show some folks a website where they can find you, the employeeescapeplan.com, and I want you to talk a little bit about that
Sure,
as we head
sure.
out here.
I made a million, lost everything, ended up getting mentored by Jay Abraham, learned just a boatload about sales and marketing, and I ended up doing subcontract coaching for Ascend Marketing, which is a principal centered marketing. And we coached a lot of people, and the kind of people we were coaching were making 3 or 5 or 700,000 a year, and they wanted to go to 1 or 2 or 3 million a year. And I would go to networking events, and I would pick up clients for that program. And I kept running into people that said, Joe, I don't make that kind of money, and I don't have my own business. I have a job, and it sucks. I hate my job. Every day I'm driving to my job, and I don't even want to go in, and I pray to God for somebody to actually teach me how to start my own business. Well, I've become the answer to that prayer. So if you have a job that you hate, I help you. I help you build a business you love so you can escape the job you hate. And I've come up with my own proprietary system. It's kind of a 9-step system, but the overall gist of it is do what you love for yourself and others. Share the love through your service and good marketing, so you can receive the love in the form of gratitude and cash and repeat business, referral business, video testimonials. There's a lot of blessings that come with a successful business, and so so now we have a new challenge. How do you create, they say 9 out of 10 people fail in business, but not on my watch. With my engineering background, I had to engineer a way where people don't fail every time. And so I invented a new way, a superior way. It's a process to take individuals and help them figure out what's the right business for you. And I the number one reason people fail in business is they're not even in the right business in the first place. So I created a whole program I call it Business Wisdom Quest, and it's about helping you find your North Star business because if you're running in the wrong direction, if you're in the wrong business, if you're running in the wrong direction, you do not need a motivator to say run faster. You need to stop.
True
You need
that.
to stop and get guidance. And so once you know where you are and where you're going and you're crystal clear on where your North Star is, then you have a chance of, achieving it. Um, and so I think that's one of the ways that I really am unique and I excel is I make sure that we dot the I's and cross the T's and help you build a business that works. And I would say very few people, almost nobody, is really teaching people how to choose the right business in the first place. The realtor says, I'll teach you to be a realtor. Go get your license and hang your agency under me. Or the car guy says, I'll teach you to be an entrepreneur. I'll teach you how to sell cars. Or the MLM person says, I'll teach you to be an entrepreneur. Or somebody says, I'll teach you to be an entrepreneur. You should be a coach. Well, everybody shouldn't be a coach and everybody shouldn't be in cars. Some people are meant to be farriers and do horseshoes on $1 million horses. That's one of my clients. Other people are meant to invent light sound machines for brain entrainment. So everybody, some people are meant to be in medicine and healthcare. So my job, I think it's unethical to point people, like, if to have an agenda. I'll teach you to be an entrepreneur as long as you follow my agenda. That's not true entrepreneurship. I believe we're children of God. So, what is your magic? Let's custom build a business around you and your magic and your gifts, as opposed to me trying to push a square peg into a round hole.
I agree 100%, Joe. It's been amazing to have you today. I will have the links for the various opportunities to connect with you in the show notes for either video or audio or presentations of this across the internet. Folks, connect with Joe if you don't know your North Star, or if you do. And one thing I was going to say to put the punctuation point on it, I couldn't let it go. You said the number one thing is people not knowing, they're not doing what they should be doing. And I think the number two thing is commitment. So,
There's only three things you need to succeed in anything, okay? If you want to become an airline pilot, there's only three things you need to do. If you want to be a jeweler and you want to manufacture jewelry, there's only three things. Number one is you have to have the burning desire. You got to have the hunger. You can't come in. You need to have your batteries fully charged. You got to have some energy. Number two is you need a roadmap. So there's a roadmap to becoming a jeweler. There's a roadmap to becoming an airline pilot. There are classes, there's curriculums, there's teaching methods. And then the third one is you need some kind of coach or mentor or guide or Sherpa, or somebody's going to take you from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain and make sure that you stay the course and hold you accountable. If you have those three, you're going to succeed. There's five. You know, you can learn things but not do things. So to know and not to do is not to know. There's five keys to implementation. This is actually gold. So number one, you got to know what to do. So I want to market my business. Well, am I going to be public speaking, or am I going to do door knocking, or am I going to, what's your method? So number one is you got to know what to do, and there's a lot of choices on what to do. Number two is you need to know how to do it. Writing a sales letter, there's a lot of nuance that can make or break the success of a sales letter. What to do, how to do it. Number three is you need resources. You need to plug into the right systems. Maybe you need the right copywriting framework or the right formulas. You need to know what to do, how to do it, the resources. You need feedback. A good coach will give you positive and negative feedback. If you're being too perfectionistic, a lot of people need positive feedback. It's good enough. Take action. And a lot of people, they're missing pieces. It's like, okay, it's not good enough. You need to make some changes. And then the fifth piece is accountability. We say your coach is your best friend or your worst nightmare. I'm your best friend because I'm going to teach you the stuff that works. I'm going to probably be your worst nightmare because I'm going to make you do what you're supposed to do even when you don't feel like doing it. In many ways, the coaching relationship to the client, the client is like the oyster. And the oyster wants to produce value called pearls, okay? But it's impossible for an oyster to produce pearls without that little grain of sand irritant. That's my job. as a coach is to irritate your way to success.
Perfect. Well, it's been really fun, Joe. Any last questions or thought you have for me? And we'll call this like the
No, I
after.
mean, no, if people want help, help's available. Reach out. I love coaching people. I've got a one-on-one and I've got group. I've got introductory offers. So, if you want the help's available. I've helped 4,000 people in 400 industries. I've helped myself make a lot of money. I've lost everything. I've come back. I've also helped a lot of clients. I've helped over 1,000 people. I could help you. Would you like to be next? Let me know and we'll have that conversation.
There we go. There we go. The entrepreneur maker, Mr. Joe Nicassio. I really appreciate having you today. Best of luck. I look forward to catching you again in Clubhouse. I know you're in there from time to time. We've got contacts for you on the internet, and go get a quality. If people are gonna be irritated anyway, they should have a quality irritant. I would say, Joe.
It's actually the truth is a lot of fun. We get on the coaching calls, we have fun, but we get work done. I always give people action items, and we come back the next week. Usually they take action, but if they don't, it's my job is not to beat up my clients, but put them back in action. And maybe we need to break things into baby steps or something. But I would say that's one
There
of
you
the
go.
things as a coach that I do better than most is I don't just teach. I really have a focus on getting my clients to implement, because if I teach you stuff but you don't implement, we're not doing any good. So
Yeah, that's
um,
that's the quality integrity of a great coach is that they cannot help me help myself, but if I'll commit, they will stay committed to me. Going pro heard that amateurs require motivation and professionals just activate themselves. So get somebody on
yeah,
your team
I
that
think
believes.
motivation is external.
Yeah, yeah,
Motivation is an external, like a push, but
yeah.
inspiration is that internal drive.
To go pro, you got to be activating. Thanks for watching and listening today. I'm Ed Hooks Jr. for the Perfect Fits Presents. Hit expectmycall.info for an awesome deal on prospecting if you are looking to upgrade your follow up to legendary. As Joe Nicassio has just shared with us, the number one problem that we sales professionals have is follow through, follow up. So track your commitments and have an amazing week.